Colostrum is a low-volume form of milk secreted by most mammals within the first 72 hours of breastfeeding postpartum, and it is also present in egg yolks. It is composed of various factors for development and protection, such as immunoglobulins, water, leukocytes, proteins, carbohydrates, and others. Colostrum gradually transitions into mature milk within the first 15 days after birth. Components such as growth factors, lactoferrin, anti-inflammatory cytokines, oligosaccharides, antioxidants, pre- and probiotics, leukocytes, and antibodies are also identified in it. Besides the amount of immunoglobulins, colostrum differs from milk in its total solids, proteins, and other factors. Over time, these differences diminish, and this secretion transitions into milk. Colostrum is the first form of milk produced by the mammary glands of mammals, including humans, immediately after the newborn's birth. Most species begin producing colostrum shortly before birth. Colostrum has a particularly high amount of bioactive compounds compared to mature milk to give the newborn the best possible start in life. Specifically, colostrum contains antibodies to protect the newborn against diseases and infections, as well as immunological and growth factors and other bioactive components that help activate the newborn's immune system, enhance intestinal function, and seed a healthy gut microbiome in the first days of life. The bioactive compounds found in colostrum are essential for the health, growth, and vitality of a newborn. This transition places a significant demand on the newborn's gastrointestinal tract, as the intestine plays a crucial role in both the digestive and immune systems. Colostrum has evolved to care for highly sensitive mammalian neonates and significantly contributes to initial immune defense, as well as to the growth, development, and maturation of the newborn's gastrointestinal tract by providing essential nutrients and bioactive factors. Colostrum also has a mild laxative effect, stimulating the elimination of the baby's first stools, called meconium. This helps remove excess bilirubin, a waste product of dead red blood cells, which is produced in large amounts at birth due to the body's reduced blood volume and helps prevent jaundice. Bioactive components in colostrum. Newborns have small and very immature digestive systems, and colostrum provides its bioactives in a highly concentrated, low-volume form. Colostrum is known to contain immune system cells such as lymphocytes and many antibodies, including IgA, IgC, and IgM. These are key components of the adaptive immune system. Other immunological components in colostrum include the main components of the innate immune system, such as lactoferrin, lysozyme, lactoperoxidase, complement proteins, and proline-rich polypeptides. A range of cytokines, small messenger peptides that regulate immune system function, are also found in colostrum, including interleukins, tumor necrosis factor, chemokines, and others. Colostrum also contains several growth factors, such as insulin-like growth factors 1 and 2, transforming growth factors alpha, beta-1, and beta-2, fibroblast growth factors, epidermal growth factor, granulocyte macrophage colony-stimulating factor, platelet-derived growth factor, vascular endothelial growth factor, and colony-stimulating factor 1. During breastfeeding, immunoglobulins are transferred through colostrum to the newborn, providing passive immunity from the mother to the child, whose immune system is still immature and in need of protection. The importance of immunoglobulins, particularly IgA, as antibodies that promote child health, lies in their ability to inhibit the adhesion of viruses and bacteria. This prevents inflammations and infections, such as diarrhea, respiratory issues, and otitis media. Breast milk. Breast milk is fundamental to children's health during the first 6 months of life, as it is a complete food that provides adequate amounts of nutrients, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats, hydration components, water, and development and protective factors such as antibodies, leukocytes, white blood cells, macrophages, laxatives, lipase, lysozymes, fibronectins, fatty acids, gamma interferon, neutrophils, bifidus factor, and others that protect against common childhood infections. It is free from contamination and perfectly suited to the child's metabolism. Studies have shown that supplementing breast milk with water or tea is unnecessary, even on hot and dry days. Normal newborns are born sufficiently hydrated and do not need additional liquids beyond breast milk, despite the small intake of colostrum in the first 2 or 3 days of life. Due to its anti-infectious properties, human milk protects children against infections from the first days of life. In addition to reducing the number of diarrhea episodes, it shortens the duration of illness when it occurs and lowers the risk of dehydration. Human milk is a complete source of nutrients for exclusively breastfed infants until 6 months of age. The chemical composition of breast milk also meets the specific digestive and metabolic needs of newborns during this period. Components. Human milk provides approximately 70 kilocalories per 100 milliliters. Lipids supply 51% of the total energy, carbohydrates 43%, and protein 6%. Besides providing energy, lipids play important physiological and structural roles and serve as a vehicle for fat-soluble vitamins. Lactose is the predominant carbohydrate in milk. The presence of lactose in human milk supports the proliferation of Lactobacillus bifidus, which inhibits the growth of gram-negative microorganisms and prevents intestinal infections. Human milk contains the lowest protein content among mammalian milks, with the highest concentration in colostrum, the first secretion from the mammary gland. Milk proteins are divided into casein and whey proteins. The majority of proteins in cow's milk, 82%, are in the form of casein, whereas in mature human milk, casein accounts for no more than 25% of total proteins. Casein is an important protein that provides free amino acids to the infant, as well as calcium and phosphorus, which are components of its micelles. Whey proteins, lactalbumin, lactoferrin, and immunoglobulins are essential for the newborn's protection. Most vitamins are present in adequate amounts in human milk. Although cow's milk contains some vitamins in higher amounts than human milk, heating, exposure to light, and air can inactivate or destroy most of them. The electrolyte content of cow's milk is 3 to 4 times higher than that of human milk. Combined with its high protein content, this can lead to renal overload, resulting in sodium retention, hyperosmolarity, and increased thirst. This thirst may be mistaken for hunger, leading to overfeeding. Iron is present in similar concentrations in human and cow's milk, but it is more bioavailable in the former. Lactoferrin, a protein in human milk that binds to iron, reduces the amount of free iron, inhibiting bacterial proliferation. Nutritional content. The intended nutrient content of breast milk is relatively consistent. Breast milk is produced from nutrients in the mother's bloodstream and bodily stores. It has an ideal balance of fat, sugar, water, and proteins necessary for the baby's proper growth and development. However, several factors can influence its nutritional composition, including gestational age, infant age, maternal smoking, and the baby's nutritional needs. The first type of milk produced is called colostrum. The volume of colostrum in each feeding matches the size of the newborn stomach and is sufficient, in caloric terms, to nourish the infant in the first days of life. It is rich in proteins and vitamins A, B12, and K, supporting infant growth, brain development, vision, immune function, red blood cells, and blood clotting. Breast milk also contains long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acids, essential for normal neural and retinal development. The caloric content of colostrum is approximately 54 kilocalories per 100 milliliters. Mediterranean diet. The second type of milk is transitional milk, which is produced during the transition from colostrum to mature breast milk. As breast milk matures over several weeks, its protein content decreases. The caloric content of breast milk reflects the baby's caloric needs, continuously increasing after 12 months. The caloric content of breast milk in the first 12 months of breastfeeding is approximately 58 to 72 calories / 100 ml. Comparatively, the caloric content after 48 months is approximately 83 to 129 calories / 100 ml. When a mother has a full milk supply and is breastfeeding her baby, the first milk to be expressed is called foremilk. Foremilk is usually thinner and lower in calories. The hind milk that follows is rich in calories and fat. If the mother does not have vitamin deficiencies, breast milk typically meets the baby's needs, except for vitamin D. The National Health Service, UK, the Canadian Pediatric Society, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and the Academy of American Family Physicians agree that breast milk alone does not provide babies with an adequate amount of vitamin D. Therefore, they advise parents to supplement their babies with 400 IU of vitamin D daily. Providing this amount of vitamin D to breastfed babies has been shown to reduce rates of vitamin D insufficiency. However, there was insufficient evidence in the latest Cochrane review to determine whether this amount reduced rates of vitamin D deficiency or rickets. Babies typically do not need iron supplementation. When complementary foods, solids, are introduced around 6 months of age, parents should choose iron-rich foods to help maintain their children's iron stores. Bioactive content. In addition to the nutritional benefits of breast milk, it also provides enzymes, antibodies, and other substances that support the baby's growth and development. The bioactive composition of breast milk also changes based on the baby's needs. For example, when a baby is recovering from an upper respiratory infection, local signaling allows for a greater passage of immune cells and proteins to help the baby's immune system. Produced during pregnancy and in the first days after birth, colostrum is easily digestible and has laxative properties that help the baby pass early stools. This aids in the excretion of excess bilirubin, helping to prevent jaundice. Colostrum also helps seal the baby's gastrointestinal tract against foreign substances and germs, which can sensitize the baby to foods the mother has eaten and reduce the risk of diarrheal diseases. Although the baby receives some antibodies through the placenta, colostrum contains a new substance for the newborn, secretory immunoglobulin A, IgA. IgA works by attacking germs in the mucous membranes of the throat, lungs, and intestines, which are more likely to be targeted by pathogens. Additionally, colostrum and mature breast milk contain many antioxidant and anti-inflammatory enzymes and proteins that reduce the risk of gastrointestinal food allergies, respiratory allergies to airborne particles like pollen, and other atopic diseases such as asthma and eczema. Nutrition and human evolution. In the health field, nutrition studies the properties of food and aims to promote well-being and health through diet. Good nutrition depends on a regular and balanced diet. That is, it is necessary to provide the body's cells not only with the right quantity, but also the right variety of essential nutrients for their proper functioning. The most well-known dietary guidelines are food pyramids. Every living being needs food to survive and reproduce. However, in the human species, the immense ability to adapt to various types of food, which makes Homo sapiens the species with the most diverse eating habits on the planet, was crucial to its evolution. Studies indicate that one of the main factors that led our ancestors to diverge from their primate relatives was the ability to adapt to the menu of different environments. Some theories also propose that the exceptional growth of our brain was only possible due to the inclusion of protein and energy-rich foods, particularly meat, in the human diet. The use of fire also contributed to the evolution of the species. Cooked foods are easier to digest, and as a result, nutrient absorption is higher. Agriculture and livestock farming, which began around 10,000 years ago, increased humanity's control over its own nutrition. Since then, the discovery of spices, the adoption of techniques to improve agricultural productivity, and the development of industrialization technologies have opened new possibilities for nutrition. Today, even with globalization and the ease of trade between nations, each culture maintains its culinary traditions based on the availability of regional ingredients, but also according to its way of life. Food pyramid. The food pyramid is a graphical tool designed to guide people toward a healthier diet. It is a general dietary guide that illustrates how daily nutrition should be structured for a healthy population over the age of 2. Each section of the pyramid represents a food group and the recommended daily servings. In our daily diet, we should always include all the recommended groups to ensure the necessary nutrients for our body. Foods that need to be consumed in greater quantity are at the base of the pyramid, while those that should be consumed less frequently are at the top. To determine the correct number of daily servings for each food group, it is necessary to consider the daily calorie needs of each individual. Therefore, a nutrition professional must plan the dietary program, as it varies according to gender, weight, age, height, and individual needs. On average, most individuals need at least a minimum number of servings within the recommended variations. The base of the pyramid consists of weight control and physical exercise. One level above, there are whole foods rich in fiber and vegetable oils containing HDL, high-density lipoproteins. The next level includes vegetables and fruits, which also provide fiber and vitamins. The fourth level contains nuts and legumes, important sources of vitamins, minerals, and proteins. Specifically, this level includes antioxidants, which help prevent certain health problems. Fish, eggs, and poultry form the fifth level, rich in proteins, with eggs being particularly high in cholesterol. The sixth level, near the top, includes calcium supplements, which can come from milk and dairy products. Finally, at the very top, there are refined grains rich in carbohydrates and red meat, which contains saturated fats. Dietary supplements. Dietary supplements are preparations intended to provide nutrients such as vitamins, minerals, fiber, fatty acids, or amino acids that may be lacking or not consumed in sufficient quantities in a person's diet. They are manufactured and consumed in the form of capsules, pills, powders, and liquids. It is important to note that they are made from substances isolated in laboratories, which may or may not be combined with natural nutrients. This requires strict control over new formulations introduced into the market. The importance of water. The cytoplasm of living cells consists of an aqueous solution containing various substances, making water fundamental to the nutrition of living beings. A nutrient is typically defined as a solute, meaning a substance that dissolves in water. From this perspective, water itself is not classified as a nutrient, but it is essential for the absorption and assimilation of nutrients. This concept is particularly evident in plants, which require watering and fertilization to ensure they receive the necessary nutrients for growth. In animals and unicellular heterotrophic organisms, nutrients are absorbed after digestion, either within the digestive system or in specialized organelles. This process transforms food into substances that, once dissolved, can be assimilated by cells. Diet. Choosing the right foods in the correct proportions, along with engaging in physical exercise under the guidance of a specialist, and avoiding a sedentary lifestyle, are considered essential factors for maintaining health. A restrictive diet that does not take the body's needs into account can have disastrous effects. Therefore, a proper individual nutritional assessment prevents imbalances in the diet that may lead to health issues, such as specific nutritional deficiencies, caloric protein deficiencies, excess weight, or obesity. Additionally, maintaining a healthy lifestyle is not just about dieting, it also involves avoiding a sedentary lifestyle. Western Standard Diet. The Western Standard Diet is a modern dietary pattern generally characterized by a high intake of prepackaged foods, refined grains, red meat, processed meats, high-sugar beverages, candies, fried foods, industrially produced animal products, butter, high-fat dairy products, eggs, potatoes, corn, including high-fructose corn syrup, and a low intake of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, pasture-raised animal products, fish, nuts, and seeds. Dietary analysis focuses on overall eating patterns, such as the Mediterranean diet, rather than individual foods or nutrients. Compared to the Prudent Standard Diet, which includes higher proportions of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and poultry, the Western Standard Diet is associated with higher risks of cardiovascular diseases and obesity. Elements. This diet is rich in red meat, dairy products, processed and artificially sweetened foods, and salt, with minimal intake of fruits, vegetables, fish, legumes, and whole grains. Various foods and food processing techniques introduced during the Neolithic and industrial periods have fundamentally altered 7 nutritional characteristics of ancestral hominid diets: glycemic load, fatty acid composition, macronutrient composition, micronutrient density, acid-base balance, sodium-potassium ratio, and fiber content. In 2006, the typical American diet averaged around 2,200 kilocalories, 9,200 kJ, per day, with 50% of calories from carbohydrates, 15% from proteins, and 35% from fats. This macronutrient intake falls within the acceptable macronutrient distribution range for adults, as identified by the Food and Nutrition Board of the Institute of Medicine in the United States. This range is associated with a reduced risk of chronic diseases while ensuring adequate intake of essential nutrients and consists of 45 to 65% carbohydrates, 10 to 35% proteins, and 20 to 35% fats as a percentage of total energy intake. However, the nutritional quality of the specific foods making up these macronutrients is generally poor, as discussed in the Western dietary pattern above. Complex carbohydrates, such as starch, are considered healthier than sugar, which is frequently consumed in the standard American diet. The energy density of a typical Western diet has been continuously increasing over time. A USDA study conducted in the mid-2010s suggests that the average caloric intake of American adults is at least 2,390 kilocalories per day. Researchers using different data collection and analysis methods estimated the average intake to be around 3,680 kilocalories per day. However, a healthy daily intake is significantly lower. Since most American adults have a sedentary lifestyle, guidelines suggest that 1,600 to 2,000 kilocalories are adequate for most women, while 2,000 to 2,600 kilocalories are appropriate for men with the same level of physical activity. A 2004 analysis of eating habits in the United States found that about 75% of restaurant meals were fast food. Nearly half of all menu orders consisted of hamburgers, fries, or poultry dishes, and about one-third of orders included soft drinks. Between 1970 and 2008, per capita calorie consumption increased by nearly 25% in the U.S., with about 10% of all calories coming from high-fructose corn syrup. Americans consume more than 13% of their daily calories from added sugars. Beverages such as flavored water, soft drinks, and sweetened caffeinated drinks account for 47% of these added sugars. Americans aged 1 year and older consume significantly more added sugars, oils, saturated fats, and sodium than recommended by the dietary guidelines outlined by the Office of Disease Prevention and Health Promotion. About 89% of Americans consume more sodium than recommended. Additionally, excessive consumption of oils, saturated fats, and added sugars is observed in 72%, 71%, and 70% of the American population, respectively. Consumers initially turned to margarine due to concerns about the high levels of saturated fat in butter. By 1958, margarine consumption had surpassed butter, with the average American consuming 4 kilograms of margarine per year. Margarine is produced by refining vegetable oils, a process that introduces transalaic acid, which does not naturally occur in foods. The consumption of trans fatty acids, such as transalaic acid, has been linked to cardiovascular diseases. By 2005, margarine consumption had declined below butter consumption due to the health risks associated with trans fat intake. Vegetable consumption is low among Americans, with only 13% of the population meeting the recommended amounts. Boys aged 9 to 13 and girls aged 14 to 18 consume the least vegetables relative to the general population. Potatoes and tomatoes, which are key ingredients in many meals, account for 39% of the vegetables consumed in the U.S. About 60% of vegetables are eaten individually, 30% are included in dishes, and 10% are found in sauces. Whole grains should make up more than half of total grain consumption, and refined grains should not exceed half. However, 85.3% of the grains consumed by Americans are refined, where the germ and bran are removed. While refining grains extends shelf life and softens bread and cakes, it significantly reduces their nutritional quality. Mediterranean diet. The Mediterranean diet is a set of knowledge, practices, rituals, traditions, and symbols related to agricultural, fishing, and livestock cultures, as well as the processes of preparing, sharing, and consuming food in the countries surrounding the Mediterranean Sea. It represents a moment of exchange and social communication, reinforcing and renewing the bonds that shape the identity of families, groups, or communities. It also plays a crucial role in social cohesion during cultural events, festivities, and celebrations, bringing together people of all ages, conditions, and social classes. Additionally, it includes craftsmanship and the production of containers for food transport, preservation, and consumption, such as ceramic plates and cups. Women play a fundamental role in the transmission of knowledge and skills related to the Mediterranean diet, safeguarding culinary techniques, respecting seasonal rhythms, observing calendar holidays, and passing on the values of this cultural heritage to future generations. Meanwhile, local food markets serve as cultural spaces where daily exchanges promote harmony and mutual respect. History and description. The Mediterranean diet originates from and has evolved within the civilizations that shaped Mediterranean culture, maintaining a unity despite its regional diversity. More than just a diet, it represents a lifestyle, akin to the dieta of ancient Greece. This diet is viewed from multiple disciplinary perspectives, particularly as an intangible cultural heritage, evident in the ways food is produced, prepared, and consumed, passed down through generations. It is also recognized for its collective celebrations where the dining table plays a central role in both public and private spaces. Furthermore, it is considered a healthy and sustainable eating pattern, as it requires low water consumption and generates minimal CO2 emissions. From a nutritional standpoint, the Mediterranean diet is characterized by the consumption of fresh, locally produced foods that follow seasonal cycles. Its nutritional richness stems from the harmony between food consumption, natural rhythms, and astrological cycles. It promotes the intake of a variety of legumes, vegetables, nuts, and diverse fruits, including citrus fruits, oranges, tangerines, and others, apricots, plums, pomegranates, and more. Eating is a cultural act, and shared meals facilitate the transmission of cultural values, knowledge exchange, negotiations, and agreements. While food, cuisine, and gastronomy are distinct concepts reflecting different historical periods and social contexts, they shape varied perceptions of the Mediterranean diet, which is a multidimensional cultural heritage that cannot be fully understood outside its cultural framework. The word diet has often led to an exclusively nutritional interpretation, focusing on the greater or lesser consumption of certain foods, thus distorting the true meaning of this cultural model. Similar climate conditions, high biodiversity, the formation and development of hundreds of cities, and intensive trade over millennia, along with advancements in navigation, philosophy, mathematics, astronomy, medicine, urban planning, arts, and architecture, have contributed to the spiritual and material values of Mediterranean civilizations. These elements have shaped a lifestyle that continues to influence various aspects of social life today. The way people live, work, and interact is closely linked to what, why, and how they eat. The three monotheistic religions originating in the Mediterranean region have also influenced dietary practices by sacralizing, valuing, or restricting certain foods, as well as structuring fasting periods or feasts. These elements create diversity within a shared set of spiritual and behavioral values. Modern nutritional recommendations. A modern nutritional recommendation inspired by traditional dietary patterns from Greece, southern Italy, France, Spain, and Portugal. The Mediterranean diet primarily consists of a high proportion of olive oil, legumes, unrefined cereals, fruits, and vegetables. Moderate to high consumption of fish. Moderate consumption of dairy products, mostly cheese and yogurt. Moderate consumption of wine. Low consumption of meat and its derivatives. Despite its name, this diet does not uniformly represent Mediterranean cuisine. In northern Italy, for instance, lard and butter are commonly used in cooking, while olive oil is mainly reserved for salads and cooked vegetables. Similarly, in North Africa and the Middle East, traditional fats include sheep tail fat and clarified butter, samna, with some exceptions. One researcher concluded, "There is apparently not enough material today to properly define what the Mediterranean diet truly is, either in terms of chemical composition or even in terms of specific foods. The general term Mediterranean diet should not be used in scientific literature."